The recent announcement by the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, regarding an increase in telecom tariffs has sparked widespread reactions from mobile network subscribers across Nigeria. This move comes at a time when data from the National Bureau of Statistics for the third quarter of 2024 reveals a sharp decline in foreign investment in the telecom industry, which has dropped to a 6-year low of $14.74 million. This decline is largely attributed to rising operational costs and significant losses within the sector. Additionally, the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has set a deadline for mobile network operators to disconnect outstanding USSD codes for financial institutions with unpaid debts, further impacting the telecom market's financial outlook. As industry faces its first tariff hike in over a decade, we take a brief look at the history of telecom pricing in Nigeria and the upcoming changes that will affect subscribers across major networks like Airtel, MTN, Glo, and Etisalat. This will be the focus of our discussion on Nigeria today. Thanks for joining us. I am Ikaria Clinton, and welcome to Nigeria Today. Now, with me in the studio for this conversation is Dr. Ibrahim Modibo. He's a development communications expert and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much, Ikaria. Good to be with you. Happy New Year.
Also with me here in the studio is Dr. Nestor Nzeribe. He's a public affairs analyst. He's also a newspaper columnist. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Good to see you, Ikaria. Happy New Year.
Same to you. And joining us via Zoom from Lagos is Adeolu Ugubanjo. He's the president, National Association of Telecoms Subscribers, NATCOM. Glad to have you on the program, Mr. Adeolu.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year. It's a pleasure having me.
Now, I'll start with you, Adeolu. Just give us what you think about the whole thing, the increase in tariff for telecom by telecom operators. Or the NCC, of course, the telecom operators.
Thank you very much. The telecom operators, the telcos, have always, wanted this since early last year. I mean, this increase. However, stating, of course, obvious reasons, petrol hike. Petrol hike, diesel hike. Removal of subsidy and all that. Again, they say their equipments come in dollars. These radio equipments for our data usage. So they say to improve that, this equipment come in dollars. Beyond that is the fact that they also now threatened us. They said they may be load shedding. Meaning that one area will have a signal today, the other area will not, just like the electricity sector. But all that is, now history, because this year they now demanded for 100% increase. Unfortunately, the Minister of Communications, said that initially, I think, was it NCC that was looking at 40%? And then because this, the operators are now saying it's they want 100%, NCC now came in, to now grant 50% increase starting from February. I'm sorry, it's a no.
Very much, Adeolu. Now, back to you, Nzeribe. I want to get your perception about this recent announcement by the NCC of the increase in tariff.
My perspective, Ikaria, thank you very much, is that perhaps it's another tariff too many. One more tariff too many. But then looking at the reasons for which they have brought up the tariff or they increased it, I think there are reasons that are quite understandable. But then that does not reduce the impact on the public. You understand? We understand the fact that when the subsidy on petroleum products was lifted, we knew that it was going to be like that. That so many other things will follow suit. For instance, the cost of keeping the economy going will surely be impacted. And that's what we're having. Soon other sectors will also come up. So it's not really easy, and the public keep groaning. We are crying and the weight is so much on us, but then we also have to look at sustainability. You understand? Like he just said that it's a no-no. I think it should be looked into. I think there should be a conversation, a deepened conversation. Yeah.
Okay, now, Dr. Modibo, of course, Adeolu has, reeled out some of the reasons they gave for their requests for the increase in tariff. You know, and they were asking for 100% before the NCC now finally said, okay, this is what we agree on, which is 50%. So, talking about, okay, let's talk about the 100%, for instance. Is it justifiable?
Thank you very much, Ikere. Looking at the historical manuscript of the telecoms industry in Nigeria, you agree with me that for the past 11 or 12 years, there's this trajectory of them consistently asking for tariff increase. Even last year, they asked for 40%, where ordinarily a call of 1 minute should have been, I mean, as it was, or as it is, 6 naira 40 kobo. They had wanted 40% increase, which could have translated it to about 8 naira 90 kobo, plus and minus or some of the things that they are adding, including VAT and what have you. Now, to me, I think this is a request, or these are taxes that seems too many on Nigerians. It's a kind of a burden. If you look at the problems of Nigeria as it is today, you will agree with me that the poor man is under the full weight of ravenous and greedy political class, and also the economic handlers. Economic handlers, I mean, looking at the ministry giving 50%, and I don't think I've heard of any country where people will request for 100% and to be given 50%. It is not sensitive to the yearning aspiration of Nigerians for very obvious reasons. We have to be circumspect of the current political or economic doldrum that Nigerians are currently confronted with. Look at the issue of the devaluation of the naira. Look at the issue of fuel subsidy. Look at the issue of power. Look, the only tax that we don't have at the moment is maybe water, and it might likely come very soon. So what are we benefiting? We have to come and think of the trajectory of governance. The issue of governance squarely lies on the government, making Nigerians happy by way of improving their lifestyles, by way of improving their economies, by way of putting food on the tables. As it is today, the ordinary Nigerian has not been able to benefit much because of these taxes, of which to me, based on the current circumstance of the government, which brings up these economic policies, though, as Doctor has rightly stated, it came, but it's the circumstances that brought it. Now, you carry by statistics of fourth quarter of 2024, by the NBS, Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, it has stated that the telecom operators in Nigeria have a population of 224 million Nigerians that are patronizing them, with MTN leading by with about 69 or thereabout million, then Glo and Airtel having 61 million plus, and then others also follow. Now, by mere econometrics, we are under no illusion to the fact that Nigeria is currently facing myriad of political or economic problems, which translates to, you know, squeezing the pockets and also squeezing the bells of Nigerian masses. If you have 224 million, by common econometrics, almost every minute there will be more than 100 to 200 million Nigerians calling for us. They say by way of demand and supply, the more goods, the cheaper the price. And the lesser the goods, the more the price. Therefore, if you have this number of people in your district, I am sure, honestly and sincerely, to me, I strongly believe that they should have been able to manage the issue of these tariffs, which translate to taxes, of which they are saying that it has to do with goods and services, and also how these telecom operators are supposed to operate. But to me, I honestly, I just want to learn. To me, I strongly believe that if there's sensitivity, if it's not a case of trying to take hold of the current economic problems, you know, to further stifle on the necks of ordinary Nigerians, I think the telecom subscribers, 50% is too much. And I think Nigerians have been burdened by so much taxes here and there, so much problems. We know that, well, the fuel has gone, subsidy has gone, the dollar is gone. But if you look at the number of people patronizing this is enough for them to make profit, for God's sake.
Thank you very much, Dr. Modibo. Now, back to you, Adeolu. You earlier said it's a no-no. The increase in tariff is a no-no. And again, we have here from the National Bureau of Statistics that the third quarter of 2024 showed a sharp decline in foreign investment in telecom industry, you know, hitting a 6-year low of $14.74 million. Are you saying that there was no need, even though you've reeled out some of the challenges the telecom operators cited as the problem or the reason for their increase? No, are you saying that there should be no need for increase at all?
Obviously, we are not saying that there shouldn't be no increase. If you remember, some time ago, we had a press conference, and we did say that a 5 to 10% increase may be justifiable, but they should now, if they want more money, they should look into the capital market, stock exchange, IPOs, initial public offers, and all that. But if that is still not enough, then the banks are owing them so much money. They are also owing themselves. Telco A is owing Telco B, is not paying. Telco C is owing Telco D, is not paying. So when they get all this money, several billions, I mean, I don't know why the banks will deduct the money from us, subscribers, immediately and refuse to pay them. In fact, NCC should ensure that they recover their money. So with all these, you know, options, with 5 to 10% increase, as well as going to the capital market to raise more funds, and if that is not enough, then everybody should pay up. I mean, the banks are stifling the telecoms industry. I mean, why should they? Yes, I quite agree that Uncle Bismarck Rewani's Financial Derivatives and one other organization, yes, said that telecoms is in intensive care. You know, that was about 2 or 3 months back. Okay, we now know that, okay, these are problems. But beyond that is the fact that they can just manage, in the meantime, 5 to 10% increase and look for other options so that they can now get more money within themselves, pay up, as well as the banks, you know, paying up. And if that is not enough, then let them go to the capital market, IPOs and stock exchange, to raise more funds, and they can now invest. Foreign direct investment will always come in the telecom sector. By the time they now start, you know, bringing their radio equipments, you know, to improve data and all that, fine. All that will come in, and the FDIs will rise. So for us, man, we will not be agreeing at all. It's too high. 50%, 5 to 10% is what we are looking at. Otherwise, it will be challenged. The last hope of the common man is the court, and we are common people. So that is what we are going to do, man.
Okay, now to you, Dr. Nzeribe. Of course, Adeolu has said his own part, while Dr. Modibo here has also revealed out his reason why this increase shouldn't have been in the first place. Now, are there alternative measures the NCC or the telecom operator should have, adopted instead of increasing the tariff?
Yes, Eukaria, thank you very much once again. You see, this attitude of always coming down hard on the public, the already suffering Nigerian public, should be seriously looked into. The Nigerian citizenry seems so helpless. Helpless in the sense that anytime there is a disruption and a solution for the disruption is sought, the usual recourse is to go back to the public and get a pound of flesh from the public. Granted, operational costs has increased. Granted, there is a gap between operational costs and revenue accruable to the operators. We agree that so much has changed between 2013, when there was the last hike in tariffs, and today. It took place last in 2013. We agree that there is a lot that has changed. But what we are actually asking the operators to do is to, like Dr. Modibo just said, why don't they look at options? And like Mr. Adolu said, why would they not raise it up as a conversation that involves the subscribers so that they negotiate? A full swoop of 50% is not acceptable. We agree that operational costs has increased drastically. But then you look at a whooping 60% hike in tariff.
No, 50%. We're talking about not 60.
50.
50.
Yeah.
It's 50%. And so it's unacceptable, it's unbearable. When you consider the situation that is already obtainable in the citizenry, it is already something that is unbearable. Now we look at other issues. Why will the telecoms operators not look at diversification of services? Why will they not be creative enough to think of other kind of services that will improve their earnings, that will add more, bring more to the table for them, that will help them to relieve Nigerians of this coming massive burden of hike of 50%. So we agree, we sympathize with them. We understand that it is not easy. And then look at the subtle threats. They threatened that it will be difficult in the near future to sustain their services because of operational costs. Now, it is a subtle threat. And it's the kind of threat that we ask them to withdraw. Don't twist the Nigerian public. Let us come to the table and discuss. Let us look at issues like the national chairman of the subscribers just said. Why don't we look at the percentage of increment in a manner that will not subject the citizenry to further hardship? Because budgets of families and pockets of families, I tell you, is getting overloaded because of, not with extra cash, but with extra responsibilities. So I think something should be done.
Now, Dr. Modibo, having said all of this, what impact will this increase have on the digital, the digital economy of the country?
You see, I completely agree with the submission of Dr. Nzeribe and also Chief Adeolu on the need to take Nigerians along whenever decisions as this are taken. One thing that I want to appreciate the Tinubu administration as of today is if you look at the issue of this tax bill before the National Assembly, he has allowed discussions. And there has been this engagement of the public. But taking this decision unilaterally by the NCC without meeting or without trying to get the vibes from the public as to the accommodation of their pulses and also their stomachs, I think is very, very unfair and undemocratic. You see, they've been complaining. Every Nigerian is under this stress. They are not the only ones. Every Nigerian is under the stress of this, the economic fanfare, the devaluation of the naira, the issue of fuel subsidy, taxes on power and everything. For God's sake, for an ordinary family of, let's say, even two, you are giving him 70,000 per month. How much is he going to put for power, put for electricity, put for transportation, put for calls? Ordinarily, you see, as Dr. has rightly said, they should think out of the box. The NCC and also the telecommunication the telecommunication operators. You see, apart from calls, they have Facebook, internet services, what again? Google. They have all this. All these are all encompassing where they get monies. And look at it this way: there are circumstances where you even make a call, the call will drop. You say hello, hello, and they're still charging. What of the issue of even the charges that the banks have been taking for every call that you do, especially when it comes to issue of POS and what have you? Where is the money going to? I think there is the need for the NCC to engage the public, to feel the pulse of the public in trying to meet up to the Shylock kind of demands of the telecommunication operators. They are not being fair to Nigerians. They have not been engaging Nigerians. With whose authority has the NCC gotten to give 50%? Not with authority. We will challenge it, as Chief Adeolu has rightly stated. Nigerians have the wherewithal to go to court, and therefore it will be challenged. There is nowhere in the world where I see people be given this kind of manna from heaven. 50%.
Thank you very much.
Increase. No, it's very unfair. Very unfair.
Let's get your closing thought, Chief Adeolu, on this issue.
Hello?
Yes, let's get your closing thought on this issue.
Thank you very much. I must say that for us, Nigerian subscribers, 50% is rather too much. Let them, like Dr. Modibo did say, let them look inwards, ensure that banks pay them, ensure that all the, intra-telco bills are paid. That is, they shouldn't owe themselves. And then an increase of a maximum of 10%. That is a lot of trillions. We learned that they are owing 1.5 trillion. 10% increase will pay that off. Again, let them also go to the stock market, capitalize, do IPOs and all that, and then raise more funds so that they can now use that, buy radio equipment to improve quality of service. 50% is rather too high. And NCC should, and the minister, the honorable minister, should please reduce it to 10%. Otherwise, subscribers cannot afford it. We're already impoverished. So please, we are begging the minister and NCC to revert back to the 10% originally recommended by subscribers in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was Chief Adeolu Bubanjo. He's the President, National Association of Telecom Subscribers, NATCOMS. Thank you so much for your thoughts and your contribution.
Are we?
And also,
are we running up?
yes, and Dr.
Please kindly give me 1 minute.
We don't have
1 minute is,
time.
as Doctor said, this is a security threat to this country. For them to say they withdraw the services to because of this security challenges. They are a security threat. Tell them.
Dr. Modibo,
Okay.
would maybe some other time you have time to talk about that. That was Dr. Ibrahim Modibo, the development communications expert and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ikeria. Thank you. Thank you.
And also I had Dr. Nestor Zeribe, he's a public affairs analyst and also a newspaper columnist. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for your
very
time
much for us to actually converse. Let us talk. Yeah.
Thank you very much for being part of the program. I'm Ikeria Clinton. Goodbye.